Well, it is that time of year, Sports Doctor. It's time to announce the winners of Best Student Section and figure out who's getting the pizza.
Yeah, who's getting the pizza? You kids showed up this year, and you showed up big time, Casey. A lot of good student sections. What do you got in mind?
Well, you know, when we started off, it was Sports Doctor's idea. I give him full credit. He said that you would rise to the occasion, and boy, did you. Everywhere we went, you turned out in droves. And that was the criteria. We just said, show up. But along the way, it morphed into something so much more than that. We saw giveaways. We saw signage. We saw
props. We saw hats. We saw T-shirts. And a couple of posters and signs as well.
Absolutely. All of that contributed to our decision. But at the end of it, it was about who showed up. And for some of you out there, and we'll talk about that in a moment, very strong social media helped as well. I want to start in the Bears Lair in Stonington. Now, Sports Doctor, we've been there a couple times, and not always the biggest student section, but this year when they hosted St. Bernard's, they showed up in the Bears Lair.
And they showed up, Casey, and they showed up in full force at the Bears Lair. A lot of good energy in the gym and a great basketball game as well between Stonington and St. Bernard's.
Helped your team to a victory. We saw good signage. We saw good energy. If you want to take it to the next level, Bears Lair, take a look at this guy right here and match his energy all the time. That's what a student section looks like.
He's a lunch pail guy, as the Sports Doctor likes to say. No doubt about that one.
Well, let's move on to Old Lyme. Now, we haven't done a nighttime game day from Old Lyme, a different set of Wildcats, the blue and white Wildcats, but we were blown away. You had a whiteout in the gym leading your team to victory. We were very impressed with Old Lyme.
Yeah, huge crowd, big-time rivalry game, couple of winter caps for Casey and the Sports Doctor, a lot of good signs, and a lot of good energy, which I love the energy.
Yeah, we did everything that you said you were going to do, you did. You sold out your gym. You gave us good moments, great signs. One of my favorite signs, anytime you say you love Casey and the Sports Doctor, we're in. Good giveaways, Old Lyme, so good that it's going to guarantee you another game day appearance at some point. We'll be back. That's how good you were. You know, we traveled to Old Lyme. Travel's a good thing now. Let's talk about St. Bernard's for a second, because we didn't do a game at St. Bernard's this year, and yet their student section made an impression on us.
Yeah, they brought it. They brought it to Stonington, and they brought it to Mohegan Sun, you know, last week for the ECC Division II final. The Saints came marching in at the Mohegan Sun.
You know, it started early in the season when they showed up at the X in big numbers, gave us a couple little bobbleheads for our heads. By the end, they had signs. They were loud, and absolutely, at Mohegan Sun, what a great crowd to see a three-peat for the Saints. Special consideration, special shout-out to the Saints cheering section for traveling all year long and impressing us. Well, that brings us on to Viking Valley, East Lyme. You know, it started when you showed up and you sold out a girls' basketball game between East Lyme and New London. Then you sold out a boys' basketball game between East Lyme and Waterford, leaving a bunch of Waterford folks out in the cold. And then you traveled to the X and matched their student section in that classic game at Waterford. What can you say about Viking Valley?
It was a blackout every game in Viking Valley, and we'll take it one step further. Their students did a piece in the school paper on Casey and the Sports Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're famous now, but listen, Viking Valley brought the goods, glasses, signs, pizza boxes, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we really appreciated the signs, and the pizza boxes were top-notch.
They were empty, but we'll try and fill them up.
Fair enough, they were empty, but you interviewed us for the school paper. You're right, Sports Doctor. That was huge. Everything you did, you kept increasing. The Viking helmets, the sunglasses, well done. Next up, NFA, the Big Red Sea. Now, we got to give you guys props for a couple things. The first of which is you were put in a tough spot this year. 4 o'clock in the afternoon to come to a basketball game.
Yeah, but they were still there. That student section showed up, and they brought a lot of love for Casey and the Sports Doctor. Big game against Ledyard, NFA won.
And they did. And you guys came to all of your games, and then the finals at Mohegan Sun. I bow to you, NFA. That was brilliant. How many of you showed up? The energy, the signs, and hands down, the best social media game of any of our student sections. You guys were hilarious, and it started when you put a picture of my face and his face on Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man. And what you gonna do when you do the good social media game of the Wildcats?
They were inboxing me during the game against Waterford. They said, Sports Doctor, they won't let us bring our signs into the arena. Can you do anything about it? Listen, I got power, but not that much power.
Strong social media game for the Wildcats. And that brings us, to the premier.
Benchmark?
Yeah, they are the benchmark.
benchmark. The benchmark.
Lancer Nation. You know what? Special consideration and shout out. Hey, Lancer Nation, none of this would have been possible without you. You started all of this by creating a student section that was concise, energetic, organized.
Original?
Yes.
They're very original, yeah.
And so a lot of what we see is copied off of you. You did the first, and that should be noted. And you had the best sign. The Sports Doctor is a scholar. He liked the neurobiology sign. If you could tell me what a brainwave looks like while getting pizza, that was the sign of the year.
They were outstanding again this year, Casey. Again, the benchmark of student sections.
So, I guess it's pretty clear who the winning student section is, who the best student section is, and who gets the pizza.
Hey, what? We agree to disagree?
Sports Doctor, I love NFA, but they had the worst sign in the entire league. They had a sign with a picture of you and Nick Hay. Love you, Nicky Hay.
And that's why I'm delivering the pizza at the NFA next week. That's why, to me, the NFA student section brought it all year long. The love, the affection for the Sports Doctor. Listen, you guys rocked it. The social media was great. The energy at the games were great. And for what you did for your team and your school was even better. NFA gets my vote for the best student section this year.
Viking Valley, you filled the girls' game. You filled the boys' game. You traveled and filled the X. You had the great signage, the pizza boxes, the Viking helmets. Oh, you know what, though? NFA, you did show up to a cheerleading event. That was pretty good, too.
Huge.
That was pretty good. No, I'm sticking with it. I'll tell you what. Viking Valley, your first home game of the boys' tournament. We're there with pizza. You better show up like you have all year and get some pizza.
Yeah, for NFA, what, your first home game?
Scheduled for Monday.
Listen, Casey, Sports Doctor, you better have the sign of me and Nick Hay, too. Because without that, there's no pie.
This is only going to get bigger. Next year, we're going to have new criteria. I want to see everybody rising up again. But for this year, to all of our student sections, again, Waterford, without you, it doesn't exist. Stonington, way to rise up. Old Lyme, St. Bernard's, all of the ECC teams did a great job. But there's your winners for 2018-19.